315 is the bench number every dude lies to himself about. Tell yourself you're close, you tell yourself you need one more better program, you tell yourself it's genetics, bad leverages, or your chest just sucks. But most people don't miss 315 because they're actually doomed. They miss it because they train like retards. They max out too much, they eat like they're scared of gaining weight, they pick random accessories, and they think benching 315 is just a chest problem. It's not. The 315 bench is skill, muscle, weak points, and recovery. And if one of those is missing, your bench is going to stay exactly where it's at. Everybody wants to bench 315 as fast as possible, especially with the whole 225 inflation going on at the moment. So I am a state champion powerlifter, and these are my current numbers right now. Unequipped at around 180 pounds and 18 years old. Alright, so let me go and explain neural stuff. Alright, I'm going to try and get a little bit more abstract on this video because I'm sure you guys have seen all the generic advice, but you're going to get neurological adaptations. This is basically how powerlifting works, and like overall just getting stronger. You know, getting muscle mass and strength isn't exactly the same thing. I'll get into that more in a second. So there's strength versus muscle. Strength is your technique, tightness, confidence, speed, obviously. Basically, strength is something that you can get without actually putting on muscle. You can gain skill in something, and your central nervous system can, after you do the exact same thing over and over and over again, your central nervous system can actually become more efficient at doing the exact same movement by basically sometimes involving muscles that it doesn't need to be involved to like stabilize the movement, or just using more muscle fibers in the muscles that it's already supposed to be using. Muscle mass, on the other hand, is going to be physical bulk that you kind of put on, like, you know, like my back that you're looking at right here. This is everything that you basically need to do to put on muscle mass, whereas like in strength, you can just do this with just purely getting good, which takes time. All right, you can speedrun this by doing it more, but I'm going to get more into that later. But if you want to actually put on muscle, make sure you're doing enough volume, food, progressive overload, exercises that actually work for you. Don't force yourself to do the most optimal scientific exercise if it doesn't feel good whatsoever, but also don't continuously keep changing stuff because you stop getting sore from something, because shocker, soreness is not actually a primary like indicator of muscle growth. It's actually strength and physical muscle changes. Obviously you need to be close to failure. You don't have to literally go to failure on every single set, but if it's a bodybuilding type movement, you should go to failure on every single set. Whereas like on powerlifting movements, there is like less of a need to do that, because the heavier you get, at least the better that you get at actually doing these movements, the more likelihood you're going to have of actually hurting yourself. Like me, squatting 500 pounds, I don't go to failure on squats anymore, because that would just be flat out dangerous, to be honest with you. And obviously not getting injured. Why are you ego lifting on a lat pull down? I don't know. Sometimes it's just a vibe. But if you're still doing frank pull downs, you need to cut that shit out. Here I am looking super dejected, just like you, because you're not benching 315 yet. How to add more volume smart and actually get this nervous system stuff that I'm talking about. Holy crap, my webcam has just blown up. You know what, guys? I'm Jesus for the rest of this. Not actually, that's sacrilege. But yeah, day one, we're gonna go heavy. I want you guys to do a top single. Don't go to actual complete and utter failure. Have at least a few reps in the tank for this top single. It doesn't actually have to be like incredibly crazy heavy. And then actually add some like accessory movements afterward. Now don't go super heavy on those. There's not as much of a point. You're kind of going for hypertrophy. Just make sure you actually feel the muscle. On day two, we're going to do pause technique work based off of your weaknesses. I'm going to get more into actually how to identify those at the end of this. But a few things might be pause bench. If you're actually really bad off of the chest immediately, then you can just pause at the bottom for like a second or two. A spotto press is wherever you pause like it's 3 inches above your chest, and then you keep it there. That's for mid-range sort of like deficiencies. And then tempo press is basically just to work on actually staying tight and getting that confidence to where it's like you can unrack way more than you can actually bench. Like if you see me ripping off some stuff off the rack, I look confident as hell because it's not actually that heavy in my hands. The muscles are having to stress way more than my stabilizers. On days 3, it's a volume slash muscle. It's a volume slash muscle accrual day. There should be 2 sets of 5 to 8. That's going to be to still get like some lower rep strength work so you can continue gaining confidence. And actually, this is my own personal thing that I normally did, which was follow up by 2 sets of 10. That way you're still getting some hypertrophic work in there and actually getting growth from the bench. And then I would obviously add some more accessory movements after that. On day 4, probably more speed work. That doesn't always work. Like, not everyone needs more speed. That's not always the worst thing. But if you are super duper slow, explosive is probably going to help you either way. If you do it to the appropriate intensity, no matter what you do, it's going to help you bench more. And obviously more weak point work. Close grip, it's actually a really good tricep rower, but that's going to depend on if you can actually get it to not hurt your tendons. Me personally, I do some high rep sets. You could get some bands and stuff if you're still having problems, and if you have a sauna, that would probably actually warm you up enough to where it's not going to actually hurt you anymore. But if you can't, it's not the end of the world. You could still do some other tricep movements, like the push downs, skull crushers. I definitely recommend skull crushers. That's always a really good tricep movement. But here's like every single muscle that you really need to work out individually if you want to get a big ass bench. It's your triceps, your chest, your lats, your rear delts, your shoulders. The triceps, obviously, to lock out. If you guys have problems locking out, then you need to get your triceps stronger. If you have problems off of the actual chest, you need to get your chest stronger. That was my weakness for literally years. I'm sorry, guys. I'm probably blinding you. And also, this is boring. I'm going to put some dopamine in the corner. But for the years, I had this little bird chest, and I couldn't get it off the chest that well, but I could lock out like it was nothing. Well, get the chest bigger. Now I'm benching 340. Well, and the lats and the rear delts, that's going to play into whenever you actually do your lat pinch and you start driving through your rear delts, your back is going to come into a lot of the stability that you need to actually like transfer force effectively. So if you don't have good lats and rear delts, it's going to be hard to bench a lot of weight. And shoulders, I mean, you're always going to use some degree of front delts. Obviously, it's a press. For me, I actually use a shit ton of shoulders and triceps. That's why my chest was so underdeveloped, because my shoulders were more or less making up for my weak ass chest. Either way, you need to program at least a little bit of front delt activity there if it isn't already fried from all the benching that you did in this week. Now, calories. The actual speedrun is going to be trying to get as obese as humanly possible. This is not necessary, and I think this is stupid. You're going to be basically holding an extreme amount of like body fat. It really isn't necessary. I mean, if you want to do this, you're going to have better leverages because, you know, your actual weight to weight lifted ratio, like your body weight to your what's in your hands, if it's closer to like if you weigh 315 pounds and you're benching 315, obviously that's going to feel completely different. Your leverages are going to be completely different, and obviously that's going to advantage you. But also, you're going to have a shorter range of motion. I mean, if you have a bigger gut, then, I mean, yeah, you're not going to have to move as far. It's not going to really put on as much muscle mass doing the obesity method, really. It's just going to kind of make you... It's gonna make the lift less impressive if you actually hit it. So I wouldn't recommend doing the obesity method. You're just gonna kind of look like shit, and no one's gonna care that you bench 315 because you're gonna weigh like 250. It's kind of just trash. The practical way is to just have a slight like caloric surplus and just take your time with it a little bit, and also to make sure that you time a shit ton of carbs before you work out. Now, fast digesting carbs that aren't going to like completely bomb your stomach and make you uncomfortable. Just experiment, you know. For me, Raisin Bran works great, but honestly, like on paper, Raisin Bran shouldn't work that well because it has a shit ton of fiber, which is supposed to slow down digestion. But to be honest with you, most of the greatest pumps I've ever had are literally from eating Raisin Bran and milk. So you guys could go ahead and try the Raisin Bran method if that's what you guys want to do. But there's also Rice Krispies. That's a real fat ass one. Skittles, that's even fatter. Sour Patch Kids, that's a meme, but it's actually a real thing. That's actually effective. I ain't gonna lie. Like those soury foods, they have a lot of like simple sugars and shit all over it, and that digests hella quick. So the most practical way where you're gonna get basically all the bang for your buck and still look great is going to be to just get a calorie calculator, go slightly above your maintenance. And about slightly, I mean like 250 calories above your maintenance. Time a shit ton of your carbs before you actually work out. Keep your protein just high enough to gain muscle. You don't have to completely obsess over protein. Just make sure you actually have enough calories in you to actually grow. I'd say honestly, if you're within like at least like 0.7 or 0.8 times like your body weight in protein, you're probably going to be fine. Because honestly, I've been below that for a lot. But yeah, guys, that's going to be the most practical way to do your calories and actually, you know, bench 340 and, you know, look like a sick cunt, you know? You guys always, don't you want to look like this fellow right here? Look at that. Yeah, great. All right. See you guys next time.